Warm greetings from TNV Academy. Today in this session we are going to discuss about ISO 17043 standard, which is Conformity Assessment General Requirements for Proficiency Testing. However, before we start, let me tell you about the key learnings of today's session. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand what is ISO 17043 standard all about, how does proficiency testing work, why is proficiency testing important, why should a lab participate in PT, who should PT samples be proceed. So let's start our discussion and talk what is ISO 17043 standard all about. ISO or IEC 17043-2010 specifies general requirements for the competence of providers of proficiency testing schemes and for the development and operation of proficiency testing schemes. These requirements are intended to be general for all types of proficiency testing schemes, and they can be used as a basic for specific technical requirements for particular field of application. According to ISO or IEC 17043-2010, proficiency testing is the use of inter-laboratory comparison for the determination of laboratory performance. In other words, a proficiency test is a method used to demonstrate competence and validate a laboratory's measurement processes by comparing your result to the results of a reference laboratory and other participant laboratories. Proficiency testing addresses these 7 requirements. First, the performance of laboratories for testing or measurement and monitoring a lab's performance. Second, identifying problems in lab and initiate action for improvement. For example, inadequate test as measurement procedures, effectiveness of staff, training and provisions or collaboration of equipment. Third, the establishment of effectiveness and comparability of test or measurement methods. Fourth, the provision of additional confidence to customers. Fifth, identification of interlaboratory dissimilation. Sixth, education of participating laboratories based on the outcome of these comparison. Seventh and last one, validation of uncertainty claims. Let us now discuss how proficiency testing works. Proficiency testing determines the performance of individual laboratories for specific test or measurement and is used to monitor laboratories' continuing performance. Proficiency testing is also called interlaboratory comparison. As this term implies, proficiency testing comprises the measuring results obtained by different laboratories. In a proficiency test, one or more artifacts are sent around between a number of participating laboratories. Each laboratories measure the artifacts, example, ring gauges or a set of gauge blocks, according to a given set of instruction and reports its result to the administrator. To being a coordinating body will send a test item to refer laboratory for testing. Next, the coordinating body will send the item to participating labs for additional testing. These labs will test the item, send the result back to the coordinating body and then forward the test item to the next participating lab. Once each participating lab has tested, the artifact is returned to the coordinating body. Now let us discuss why proficiency testing is important. Proficiency testing is now more important than ever as ISO or IEC 17025-2017 now requires it, as addressed in clause 7.7.2. ISO or IEC 17025-2005 proficiency testing was only recommended, so if you are adopting the new standard, you need to have a proficiency testing program in place. 17025 store has received many questions on the topic of proficiency testing, and therefore we wanted to further explain the requirements in order for your lab to become accredited. To become accredited to ISO or IEC 17025, you must meet the requirements beyond the ISO or IEC 17025 standard. Understand how to find a proficiency testing provider. Understand your proficiency testing result. Submit your result to your accreditation body. Know what action to take if your organization fails and proficiency test. Not only is ISO 17043-2010 a requirement of ISO or IEC 17025, it has been endorsed by ILAC and accreditation body policy. Now let us discuss why should a lab participate in proficiency tests. From the data collected during PT, lab managers can identify staff that may require further training. This therefore lead the more consistency working participate throughout the lab. Regular testing also keeps the terms focused on how routine. Regulatory testing also keeps the term focused on how routine procedure should be carried out. PT can provide an opportunity to further educate staff in the potential danger area of testing. Training allows staff to appreciate their contribution to the output quality of their lab. Staff can then also appreciate their role in the company's success. Lab managers can also use information gains from PT to adjust protocols if needed. For example, if a lab undergoes a rapid increases in sample numbers, then result may suffer. This may only be a temporary adjustment period, or it could be indicate a prodigal issues. If lab managers see a drop in satisfactory results across a number of rounds of testing, then they can use the opportunities to reassess protocol and formulated way to better streamline processes. And finally, we will now discuss how the PT sample should be processed. The normal environment for routine testing. Processing PT sample inside a steam-lined fume cupboard, while steam routine samples are processed on standard worktops, is not going to provide insight into routine working practices. Any results would not be meaningful for the everyday running of the lab, although the templation is there to ensure the best possible results are reported. The emphasis of PT should be to ensure that all samples are processed to the best of the lab's abilities. In order to gain the full benefit of PT, the sample must be treated like routine sample. We have now come to the conclusion of this session. From any queries and questions that you have regarding today's topic, then please put them in the comment section of the video and we will be really happy answering them. Till we meet next, it best wishes from TNB Academy.